Let's get some more analysis and bring in Reed Brody, lawyer and former New York Assistant Attorney General. Reed is often a visitor to France 24, and your presence is always appreciated. Your analysis is always respected. Great to see you. Something's just popped up on the wires service in front of me, so I'll share it with you. This won't shock you, so it's nothing to worry about. US voters in the midterms held an unfavourable opinion of Trump. That's 6 out of 10 hold an unfavourable opinion of Trump. 4 out of 10 held a favourable opinion. So if this is all about Biden versus Trump, what is that saying to us, do you think?
Well, it's interesting because the Republicans want this to be a referendum on Biden, and I think the Democrats would be very happy if it were a referendum on Trump, which is why they're trying to. They tried to make sure that he did not announce his candidacy until after the midterms, and of course he hopes to ride the Republican victory in the midterms to push his candidacy. The problem is Trump will never have 50. Oh, well, I don't know. I would hope that Trump would never have 50% in the United States, but he does have within, let's say, cheating distance. I mean, the system is very skewed because of the Electoral College. Because of the way the seats are proportioned. I mean, Trump would never win the popular vote. But given the fact that we have the Electoral College, given all the election deniers, I mean, this is the first time, and this is 2020 was like amateurish. Now you have a majority of Republican, every level, state, local, federal, who are actually election deniers or challengers, and who won't even say if they will accept the results of this election. And so things are being put into place now for chaos. I think at the moment, as we speak, we're in the calm before the storm. We don't know what's going to happen tonight in the days to come. We don't know if Carrie Lake, who you just had on your show, is going to accept her defeat. We don't know if this army of poll watchers hired by right-wing people are going to be looking everywhere for evidence. And 2 years ago it was post hoc. This time they're looking in real time for every little thing to try to throw up to create a smokescreen around the election. I think we're in a very, very dangerous moment.
And the thing about these election deniers, Reed, is that when they lose, they'll say it was fixed. But when they win, of course, they won't say that, will they? It's a very hypocritical way of looking at things.
Well, that's right. I mean, nobody, even in 2020, of course, where many Republicans won the same elections that Trump lost. Republicans would win down ballot, and Trump would win up on the top of the ballot. We live in a very, very polarized country. I vote actually in Pennsylvania, which is really one of the very few battleground states. Most Americans do not have neighbors who disagree strongly with them. In New York City, you can't find a Republican. In many parts of the country, you can't find a Democrat. And you have this destabilization of the other side. I had COVID recently. I was stuck watching TV news for several days, and it is just on both sides. I have to say, it is just venom, tearing down the opponent, making it look like the other side is going to destroy the country. And yet, I mean, you have the Republican Party that is now beholden to Donald Trump. In order to prosper in the Republican Party, you must toe the line. You must say that the election of 2020 was stolen, because, and this is precisely because we live in separately. So a Republican in a state like Arizona, or in a state, or less Arizona because it's a swing state, but most other states, a Republican doesn't try to get to 50%. Doesn't fear the losing in a general election. A Republican fears that if he or she does not toe the Trumpian line, he or she will be defeated in a primary. And so the Republican Party has moved to the center of gravity now in the Republican Party are election deniers, right-wing conspiracy theorists, and it's a minority party, but it's strong enough because of our system to hold a significant chunks of power, including at the moment the Supreme Court, which is going to be in the hands of conservatives for decades. Now, people are talking about a permanent minority government in the United States, in which the majority voters who seven of the last election were and yet we have policies on abortion, on gun control, that reflect an entrenched conservative view.
Reed Brody, I've got two things to say before we end. One, I hope you're better after COVID. It is a terrible thing to have, and I hope you're well. Two, I hope you managed to watch France 24 whilst you were scanning all the news channels, and I hope you enjoyed the analysis that we hopefully fairly provide.
Much better coverage than American channels, I can assure you, on all sides.
Reed, thank you very much indeed, sir. It's a pleasure to speak to you always. Thank you very much to you, Reed Brody, lawyer and a former Assistant Attorney General in the US, and also someone who worked very closely with Human Rights Watch back in the day too. Always a pleasure to speak to you, Reed. Thank you very much indeed. We'll have more analysis throughout the night on the midterms, as you'd expect. Our correspondents in the field, our team in the studio. It's going to be wall-to-wall. US midterms, les mi-mandats, as they call it in French.